Good morning and welcome to Corporate Insider. I'm Niraj Shah. In the next 30 minutes, we touch base with three very interesting corporates. But to the corporates, and the first one is Sterlte Technologies. As we speak about the potential telecom beneficiaries, there are lots of brokerage houses which have initiated reports on this stock in particular. JP Morgan, as late as May 24th, has initiated coverage with an overweight rating and a price target of 120. That's a healthy 20% upside in the next 12 months. But how does the company believe the business prospects look like with all that is happening in the telecom space? Mr. Anand Agarwal, head honcho of the company, joins us in the studio to talk about that. Thanks so much for joining in. My first question to you would be, a lot of people talking about how you as a company would benefit as a result of what's happening in 3G, WiMAX, so on and so forth. Pointedly, is this a big boost for you as a company? Two, how soon does it start coming into your books? And three, would there be incremental revenues that can come in and aside of the regular revenue flow that you already have?
To address the first question, definitely 3G is going to be a big booster for us. For us, fiber is essentially a high data transmission pipe, and wherever we have seen that as more and more broadband and triple play services start coming in, the fiber demand goes up. We've seen that for the last 3 years in China. We have close to 7% of the market share of China, and China in the last 3 years almost doubled its offtake and became globally the largest fiber user, just because of 3G rollout and increased broadband propagation. We believe the same thing is going to happen in India. In terms of timing, we believe the next 2 years are going to be critical. Today, the telcos have just about 10% of their total revenues as non-voice revenues, and ARPU keeps on coming down. And another trend we have seen that with 3G and with non-voice revenue trickling up, the ARPU start stabilizing and in fact start going up.
Sure.
So we believe absolutely the same thing is going to happen in India. In terms of the revenues that we start seeing, Indian market today is the third largest globally, but though still very small compared to the potential it holds. We definitely believe within the next 2.5 year Indian market will double its fiber requirements, and us having almost a 45% market share would be a good beneficiary on that account.
Would it be fair to say then, as far as that segment goes, from the current order book, if I can put it that way crudely, that you have, you would at least double your execution in order book levels over the next 2 years, if indeed that is going to be the growth rate? For the fiber optic segment, definitely yes. We have one segment is the telecom segment, the other being power. For the telecom segment, definitely we are seeing a doubling of the order book as well as our sales. And with keeping that in perspective, we have taken a decision to augment our capacity. We have doubled our capacity over the last 2 years from about 6 million to 12 million, and have taken a decision to further increase it to 20 million kilometers. And this will happen by?
This will happen by FY12.
Okay.
So that will take us to the third largest fiber producer globally, and the benefits of the India expansion and the China 3G will start accruing to us.
All right. I'll come to the overall numbers, but just give me a sense. You said that your telecom business would grow at 100% probably over the next 2 years. Keeping that in mind, the other side of your business, that is the power business, how is that poised for growth over the next 1 year, over the next 2 years, CAGR as well?
Power business has been growing at about 20 to 25%. We believe this growth rate will continue over the next 6-7 years. Power is a more regulated business where the plans are pretty much in place, and the visibility is of a much higher degree. We know the transmission lines that are going to come up over the next 4 years in the country. We know how we are placed. So we believe it is going to be a good, strong, stable and robust growth.
That's fantastic. I mean, if I'm reading between the lines, power business would grow at 20 to 25%.
Yeah.
You're saying that your telecom business would grow northwards of 50%, probably even 100% CAGR over the next 2 years.
CAGR would be, the doubling would happen over a period of 2.5 years.
Great.
So CAGR would be 30-35%.
So keeping this in mind, I mean, I was reading, say for example, the JP Morgan report wherein they're saying that you will probably, they are assuming a CAGR growth of around 20 to 22%. I think you would probably do much better than that. 30% would be on the cusp.
We should be between 25 to 30%.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, another thing that has been cited, now we've talked about the revenues, that's a 30% growth that you are expecting. Another thing that is cited is that with the capacity expansion, and the backward integration that you have, your margins would improve over the next 2 years.
Sure.
One, would that be a case? How much of an improvement could we see? And as a result of that, how would the bottom line picture look like?
Our EBITDA margins has been seeing expansion over the last 3 years or so, and that has increased our ROCEs as well. Our EBITDAs have reached close to about 17%. We believe as a result of these expansions, it should improve by another 200 basis points or so over the next couple of years on a much larger revenue base. So we'll see a benefit of a good revenue base as well as margin expansion.
What does that do to the bottom line then? Because 30%, 35% top line growth, margin expansion, how does the bottom line look then?
The bottom line growth would be faster than the top line growth.
40 to 45% would be on that.
I would say I would be a bit conservative right now. 30-35% looks decent right now. But we'll see as the rollouts start happening, and at least the scenario looks good right now.
All right. While you've given us almost all the things, the interesting thing that I wanted to ask you is about this big ones concept. I mean, everybody, at least in Mumbai that we travel, we face a lot of problems. This is an opportunity that I would want you to kind of explain further. Is this also, aside of the fact that it's a novel idea, is this a big revenue kicker for you as a company as well?
For us, we are in two core infrastructure segments, power and telecom. We believe what we see is pretty similar in both these sectors in the country. You, at one point, you are having a plan which is taking power to the villages, which is called Rajiv Gandhi Vidyut Karan Yojana.
Sure.
At the other point, you have rural broadband project. Similarly, we see roads being built where it is being dug once for a power cable, then maybe for a fiber optic cable. We believe as the country is building, there is a program called Bharat Nirman. As the country is being built, it ought to plan for it together. And we as a company can play a bigger role where we have products which can transmit telecom and power together. And that is something that we are driving for. That is something which happens globally. And the time is right for India to start adopting these practices.
All right, we hope that happens sooner rather than later. But many thanks. I really appreciate you joining us in the studios today and explaining all those concepts. And all the best for the next 2 years. We indeed hope you achieve those growth rates that you've just spoken about. That is Sterlte Technologies, sounding fairly bullish on business prospects. Close to 30 to 35% could be the top line growth CAGR over the next 2 years. And maybe a 40 to 45% bottom line growth could not be ruled out over the next 2.5 years. That's strong prospects. And the stock duly reacting. You've seen that bit of a spike that has come in when the management was speaking to us. JP Morgan has initiated coverage, a target of 120. All right, to take a quick break on that note.